Wherever you're listening or watching Radio Afiju, the time is 3 p.m.
Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo Àfíjù. Lórí WhatsApp. Àfíjù. Instagram. Àfíjù. Facebook. Àfíjù. Lórí X. Àfíjù. Lórí YouTube. Àfíjù. Lórí TikTok. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo Àfíjù. Rédíò Àfíjù. Rédíò Àfíjù. Rédíò Àfíjù.
Stay informed with news on Radio Afiju.
First, a look at the highlights. Anyanwu Durotoye attend PDP BOT meeting amid crisis. West Africa bloc announces formal exit of 3 junta-led states. Trump offers millions of federal workers 8 months of pay to resign. Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on Radio Afiju. My name is Pearl Durotoye. The news in detail. The People's Democratic Party leaders parading themselves as Party National Secretary Senator Samuel Anyanwu and former youth leader Sunday Durotoye attended the Board of Trustees meeting. It was gathered that the party's BOT chairman and former Senate President Adolphus Wabara officially opened the closed-door meeting in Abuja with Anyanwu present from the start, but Durotoye arrived shortly after the commencement. The PDP is facing a leadership crisis further complicated by conflicts surrounding the National Secretary position. Recall that in 2023, the PDP Southeast Zone nominated former National Youth Leader Sunday Durotoye to replace Anyanwu as National Secretary after he was chosen as the party's candidate for the Imo State governorship election. However, last week, the Court of Appeal in Abuja issued a restraining order directing Anyanwu to remain National Secretary until the Supreme Court resolves the appeal. Justice Mary Ann Neneni of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja, has adjourned the trial in the alleged money laundering case against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to 3rd, 24th April and 6th May 2024. Justice Neneni adjourns the case for the continuation of the hearing after the first witness, Fabian Umora, a property developer, was called to testify. At the day's proceedings, the prosecution counsel, Kemi Pinheiro, SAN, informed the court that he had 5 witnesses to call for the day. However, Justice Mariana Neni said she could only take 1 witness. Counsel for the first and second defendants, Joseph Daudu, SAN, informed the court that the prosecution had not made the statement and oath of the second defendant available to the defense team. He said he was aware that the first defendant had not made any statement yet. Similarly, the Federal High Court sitting in Ado-Ekiti has struck out the criminal charge filed by the police against Lagos State-based legal practitioner and author Dele Farotimi. Justice Bab Kwewumi struck out the charge following an application by the police prosecutor, Samson Osobu, who told the court that the prosecution had filed a notice of discontinuance. There was no objection from lawyers to Farotimi, led by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Adeyinka Olumide Fusika, and this paved the way for Justice Kwewumi to strike out the case. Outside the courtroom, Olumide Fusika told journalists that the case had been concluded in this particular court, but declined to comment on related matters pending in other courts. It is not yet clear whether those cases will also be discontinued. Two persons have been confirmed killed in a building collapse in the Ikota area of Lekki, Aja, Lagos State. A spokesman for the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Ibrahim Farin-Loye, said the two-story building under construction collapsed on Tuesday with 5 workers injured and some others still trapped in the rubble. He said the injured have been taken to the hospital for treatment while the remains of the dead have been evacuated. According to Farin-Loye, search and rescue operations were ongoing. He said the immediate cause of the incident was unknown while further investigation would be conducted. Also, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA boss, Olufemi Oke Osanyitolu, confirmed the sad development in a statement, but only said 1 person was confirmed dead and 4 adults injured. He also said search and rescue operations were still ongoing and further developments would be communicated. Away from Nigeria, the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, has announced the formal exit of junta-led Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger from the bloc following their withdrawal last year. West Africa has been rocked by a spate of coups that has countries in the 15-member body under military rule in the past 5 years. The 3 states announced their withdrawal from the bloc last January after ECOWAS demanded a restoration of democratic rule in Niger following a military coup in 2023. Instead, the 3 breakaway states formed the Alliance of Sahel States, an alternate bloc, and launched their own biometric passports. ECOWAS said the remaining members tentatively agreed to keep ECOWAS doors open by recognizing national passports and identity bearing the bloc's logo from the countries, to continue trade under existing regional agreements, and to continue diplomatic cooperation with the countries. In other parts of Africa, a plane carrying 21 passengers and crew in South Sudan's Unity State crashed today, killing 18 people. Reports said the plane had departed from an oil field in the northern state when it crashed, giving no more details. Several air crashes have occurred in war-torn South Sudan in recent years. In September 2018, at least 19 people died when a small aircraft carrying passengers from the capital Juba to the city of Ural crashed. In 2015, dozens of people were killed when a Russian-built cargo plane with passengers on board crashed after taking off from the airport in the capital, Juba. In Asia, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called for bolstering nuclear forces this year during a visit to a nuclear material production base and nuclear weapons institute. His trip, highlighting the country's growing nuclear arsenal, came as Pyongyang has been ramping up its show of force around U.S. President Donald Trump's return to office with a resumption of missile tests, which South Korea said were partly aimed at enticing Trump's attention. Kim called for further success in producing weapons-grade nuclear materials this year and strengthening the country's nuclear forces. Pyongyang has long argued that its nuclear arsenal is aimed at fending off threats from Washington and its allies, which fought the North during the 1950-1953 Korean War. Nearly 40 bodies were brought to a hospital morgue after a stampede at the Mahakumbh Mela in northern India as tens of millions gathered to bathe in sacred river waters on the most auspicious day of a 6-week festival. Bodies were still being brought to the local Motilal Nehru Medical College Hospital morgue more than 12 hours after the tragedy at the world's biggest gathering of humanity, though the government was yet to officially announce the casualty numbers. Senior police officer Vaibhav Krishna said police could not give the official numbers because they were busy with crowd management. Reports said distraught relatives queued up to identify those killed by the stampede, which occurred when crowds surged towards the confluence of three rivers where immersion is considered particularly sacred. An official at Prayagraj SRN Hospital, where some of the injured were taken, said those who died had either suffered heart attacks or had diseases like diabetes. In Europe, Serbian Prime Minister Milos Vučević has resigned following nationwide protests over the deadly collapse of a railway station canopy. He said he had acted to avoid further complicating things and so as to not further raise tensions in society. Sources said 15 people died in November when a concrete canopy at a railway station collapsed in the city of Novi Sad. Tens of thousands of people have been regularly taken to the streets since then, demanding accountability for the collapse and protesting against corruption. In a TV address late on Tuesday, President Alexander Vučić said he would decide within the next 10 days on whether to hold parliamentary elections or form a new government. In the Americas, U.S. President Donald Trump has offered buyout packages to almost all federal employees, a major move designed to shrink and reform the U.S. government. In an email, his administration told workers they had to decide by 6 February whether they wanted to be part of a deferred resignation program. If they agree by then to quit in September, the message said they would receive about 8 months' worth of salary as a severance package. The Trump administration expects up to 10% of employees to accept the offer, which equates to about 200,000 of the more than 2 million people who work for the federal government. Senior Trump officials told U.S. media that the buyouts could save the government up to $100 billion. An F-35 fighter jet crashed during a training exercise at Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska on Tuesday, but the pilot was safe after bailing out. U.S. Air Force Colonel Paul Townsend, commander of the 354th Fighter Wing, told the news conference the pilot experienced an in-flight malfunction and was able to eject from the aircraft. According to the report, the crash happened while landing during a training exercise. Eielson Air Force Base said in a statement that the incident on Tuesday afternoon resulted in significant damage to the F-35 Lightning II aircraft. The statement also said the pilot was safe and taken to Bassett Army Hospital. In the Middle East, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House next week. Netanyahu's office said the visit would take place on 4 February and that he was the first foreign leader to be invited to the White House during Trump's second term. A White House official confirmed there will be a meeting early next week, but said the date and time had yet to be finalized. Speaking to reporters, Trump had said Netanyahu will be traveling to Washington to meet him without giving a specific date. The meeting comes as an initial 6-week ceasefire is being observed in Gaza after a deal was struck between Israel and Hamas to halt the war. 5 people were injured in an Israeli drone strike targeting the southern Lebanese town of Majdal Selm. It was learned that on Tuesday night, Israeli airstrikes injured 24 people in Nabatea, a major town in South Lebanon. The Israeli military said in a statement it had struck Hezbollah vehicles that were transporting weapons on the edge of Nabatea. Following the strikes on Nabatea, senior Hezbollah official Mohammed Rad said that the Lebanese people's right to resist Israeli attacks is a sacred and legitimate right. Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah and Israel agreed on a ceasefire in late November, ending a conflict that has killed thousands of people since it was ignited by the Gaza war in 2023. Now talking sports, Barcelona manager Hansi Flick has admitted that Atalanta will miss their talismanic winger Ademola Lookman in today's UEFA Champions League clash. Lookman has been ruled out of the matchday 8 encounter due to a knee injury. Flick said it is never easy for any team to lose their star player, but he expects Atalanta coach Gianpiero Gasparini's side to adapt.
I don't. Of course, it's when you miss an important player, it's not easy. But I think Gasparini he knows his team very well, and I'm normally I don't look about one player or two players. I always look about the team, how they act, and I think it will change not so much the style they want to play. So it's normal. It's normal automatism. You train and you're following this. Many games, so at the end I think it will not change a lot.
Lookman has so far scored 4 goals and registered 2 assists in 6 appearances for Atalanta in the UEFA Champions League this season. With Manchester City staring down the barrel of a potentially shocking early exit from the Champions League, manager Pep Guardiola is keeping his focus on the upcoming clash against Bruges rather than the bleak prospects of failure in Europe's top competition. Pep said the stakes are crystal clear and City must secure a victory over Bruges to avoid dropping out. As the revamped league phase of the Champions League approaches its conclusion, City finds itself in a challenging position but still holds a fighting chance.
The situation that we have to an option is win the game, and if not, we will not continue in this competition, and we wanna go through to have another chance to play another 2 games to qualify for the next stages. So it's not a problem, it's an opportunity, a challenge, and we will face it. It's not personally for me, it's for the club, and of course it will be not good, but I'm not thinking about that right now. So I know for all the people concerned about what's going to happen in qualifying, I appreciate it, your concern, and all of you to don't qualify, but I'm thinking we're going to do it.
When hosting Belgian champions Bruges at the Etihad Stadium, City would traditionally be favoured to claim a win, especially with a remarkable home record that boasts 34 consecutive games unbeaten in European competitions since 2018. However, this season has been a tumultuous one for Guardiola's men, which have managed just 1 victory in 13 matches from October to December, which included a staggering 9 losses. Before we go, here again are the highlights. The People's Democratic Party leaders parading themselves as Party National Secretary Senator Samuel Anyanwu and former youth leader Sunday Ude Okoye attended the Board of Trustees meeting. Elsewhere, the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, has announced the formal exit of junta-led Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger from the bloc following their withdrawal last year. In the Americas, U.S. President Donald Trump has offered buyout packages to almost all federal employees, a major move designed to shrink and reform the U.S. government. That was the world news on Radio Afinju. To view our channel, please follow us on Facebook, X and YouTube at Radio Afinju. News was edited by Stella Durotoye. My name is Pearl Durotoye. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.